Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today I have a very interesting story to tell you. It's about how Pakistan, in the middle of the pandemic crisis, put its trust in nature and started working with nature. Now, over the last year, we've seen the world change, and the world has changed, especially in its relationship with nature. Nature has actually taught two very important lessons to the world. The first one is that you cannot fight with nature. It's a fight that you cannot win, and it's a fight that you must not fight. Because when you fight with nature, you cross certain thresholds, and when you cross the thresholds, nature reacts, like it did in the zoonotic disease when humans went into the realm of animals. And nature has reacted on climate change. Nature has reacted on biodiversity loss. These are fights we will not win. So I think this is not the right path to take. Secondly, what we also realized is that there is a better way possible. There is a better world possible in which we are not fighting with nature, in which nature is not an adversary, but nature becomes a partner. This is the vision of the Build Back Better, or the green-based recovery that most of the countries are thinking about. Now, Pakistan also, when the pandemic started, was already facing a crisis. We had huge environmental problems, air pollution, climate change. We are the 10th most vulnerable country in the world for over 10 years now. And we were in the midst of an economic crisis also. And add on to it, this third crisis of the COVID, which was an unpredictable crisis. We did not know how long it is going to last, where it's going to take us, how many people is it going to affect. So this huge amount of unpredictability was attached to the COVID crisis. But it was piling up on the economic and the environmental crisis we had. And we had what was called, and what can be termed as a perfect storm in terms of a crisis any country would face. Now, when we went back to the drawing board, we understood that there were certain lessons that we had learned. And we had learned it while we had planted the billion trees in KP province from 2014 to 2018. We had learned that if you invest in nature, nature always pays you back. And the return can be in terms of quantitative economic terms, and it can be in terms of things that you cannot quantify. But we had seen that nature will pay you back, and it always pays you back. And we had also read the economic reports which said that if you invest $1 in nature, $9 come back to you. We had also learned that the three main stakeholders that needed to be taken on board were youth, women, and the communities that you work with. But if you work with these three stakeholders and invested in nature, it was a win-win solution. So this was a lesson that we had learned during the COVID crisis. Pakistan decided that this is a pathway that we needed to change. So in the middle of this, the pandemic, we went back to our focus of the government. When we started the government in 2018, COVID was not there. But we had decided even at that time that we were going to go on a nature positive pathway. But the impetus was there, the political commitment was there, but we were still building the momentum. And we had built out 5 main areas where we were going to focus in the next 5 years leading to 2023. So when the pandemic crisis hit us, we started focusing on, within these 5 areas, the areas which could be really game changers in terms of nature investments. And we found out there were 3 main opportunities. One was the billion tree. We had decided now to do a 10 billion tree plantation project. So this was clearly an area that we could focus on during the pandemic if we wanted to focus on nature. The other one was something that we had not started working on, but it was part of our plans. And that was to invest in protected areas in Pakistan. Pakistan is a very unique country. It's a country which goes from the second highest point in the world to sea level within 2,000 kilometers. So it's got 12 ecological zones. No other country in the world has these 12 ecological zones. Any ecological zone which is present anywhere else in the world is also present in Pakistan. So this is the strength of Pakistan, to have this unique biodiversity present within the country. And national parks and protected areas are areas which protect these unique biodiversity areas for future generations. So I think this was in the back of our mind, but it was not really a focal area for our intervention when the pandemic hit us. The third area was what we called Recharge Pakistan. Now this was an area in which we realized that every year we have a 100-day period in Pakistan in which we get two main things. The glaciers in the north start melting because of the heat. We get gulfs in the north of Pakistan. And when these glaciers melt, we have a huge mass of water that travels through Pakistan. And at the same time, in these 100 days, we also have the monsoons come in. So both the main disruptions, one is coming from the north, which are the melting glaciers, and the other one is coming from the south, which is the weather patterns called the monsoons. And they are both bringing water in these 100 days. Now the problem is that this huge mass of water that we have traverses the length of the country. It goes down the artery, which is called the Indus River, and it goes and flushes into the Arabian Sea. There is very little storage of this water. Now, if you look at the world average of how much water countries have and how much do they store, it's about 40%. So if you have 100 liters coming in, you would be saving 40 liters. Not in Pakistan. If we get 100 liters coming in, we are only saving 9 liters out of that. So we are a country which does not properly, effectively store our water. And this gets amplified during this 100-year period because we have about 35 million acre feet of water which comes in and then goes and flushes into the Arabian Sea. So this Recharge Pakistan is a project that was envisioned in 2018 when we thought that we actually got a report from the Ramsar Convention which stated that there are about 15 wetland sites on the left and the right bank of the Indus. And if we could divert this flood water during the flood time to these wetland areas, we could not only restore these wetlands which are degrading, but also recharge the aquifer, underground aquifer that in Pakistan is going down. So it was again a win-win project. Again, a project which was in the planning stage, which was not on the ground. But when COVID struck us, we started focusing on it. So we created what was called the green stimulus. In a time of despair, in a time of depression, we came out with a positive message for the world that here is Pakistan willing to invest in nature. Here is Pakistan which is going to take these three initiatives which are going to do two things. One, they're going to protect nature, they're going to preserve nature, they're going to put our trust in nature, and number two, they're going to create valuable green jobs. Now these jobs were extremely valuable in these COVID times because we were seeing a shift from urban areas to rural areas. A lot of people who became jobless in urban areas started migrating to rural areas. And these jobs were all in rural areas. They were in open spaces. You could do it in COVID-safe environment. And all these jobs could create a stimulus, an economic stimulus, which could bring us back out of the COVID era, not only in terms of health, but also in terms of the economy through what was called nature positive recovery. So Pakistan, when other countries were thinking about it, we started implementing this green stimulus. And in the back of our mind, one thing we had studied was the Great Depression in the US. And during that Great Depression, President of the US at that time, Lyndon Johnson, had actually started investing in nature. And he realized that if he could invest in nature and if he would get the youth involved, it would kickstart the economy again. And that's what happened over there. And we use the same model in Pakistan. We started employing our youth, and as I said, the three main areas, youth, women, and communities, local communities. All three were engaged in nature positive jobs. And the three main initiatives they used were the 10 billion tree project, which was expanding forest areas in Pakistan. So we were, employing people to do to expand and grow saplings in nurseries, to protect forests from forest fires, and to protect forests from timber mafias and encroachers. Secondly, the Protected Area Initiative was started. Now this initiative started designating new national parks. We had 30 national parks in Pakistan when COVID started, and today we have 45. So 15 new national parks have been designated over an area more than 7,500 square kilometers. It's a huge area. It's got a lot of biodiversity. And in these new national parks, we are now starting a national park service to employ our youth, to train them to become nature guardians. So, on one side, planting trees, you had the what we call the Nigehbans or the forest protectors. On the other side, National Park Service in protected areas. And third, Recharge Pakistan. Again, we have designated about ₹1 billion for that. Recharge Pakistan, we are starting with 2 pilot projects One is a lake in Sindh, the Manchar Lake, and one is the in DI Khan. We are investing in the hill torrents. So all these activities started creating jobs. And it was a remarkable time, because when we had a lot of depression all over the world, here was Pakistan creating a lot of jobs for the youth in these depressing times. So something really remarkable started happening on the ground. And we got a lot of positive feedback from all the provinces that we had people getting green jobs on the ground. We had people going into nurseries, getting green jobs, going into forests, getting green jobs. And during this period, we created about 85,000 green jobs. And today, we have got the funds to create another 100,000 green jobs through the green stimulus in the next 6 months. So we are targeting December 2021, we'll have about 200,000 green jobs. So these were remarkable times, because these were times in which these people were really at the edge of hopelessness, and nature gave them hope. And these projects and these initiatives, which were based on a nature positive recovery, gave hope to the people on the ground, to the daily wages who went to the rural areas and started getting these green jobs, which was enough, because they were getting about 18,000 rupees a month doing jobs in their own homes. So they were very happy, and we got a lot of positive feedback from this. Now, I wanted to just mention over here that when we started this green stimulus, one of the big challenges in front of us was who's going to pay for this. We didn't have the money. The government was already cash strapped because of the COVID crisis. The hospitals were under stress. The health was under stress. But still, we had a vision. And our Prime Minister at that time said that let's go ahead with it and we'll see and we'll get the money. And we did get the money. But what we had to do was think out of the box. We had to think innovatively about financing also. So we created what was called the Ecosystem Restoration Fund. It was a fund which was launched in Madrid about 6-7 months before COVID started. But we actualized that fund during the COVID period. And we actually got $180 million from the World Bank during the COVID time to invest in this, because the idea was very strong. Idea had a lot of gravitas, that Pakistan was willing to put its trust in nature, and it was willing to give jobs to the people based on nature. So that idea brought the initial funding, which is now taking us into the next stage. What we also did during this time was started thinking about other instruments. One of the instruments just this week has been launched. It's called the Green Bond. It has targeted about 500 million euro of green investment. And that green bond got oversubscribed 4 times. And that happened because there's economic stability in Pakistan, and because the green credentials of the Pakistan government are globally recognized now. We are also doing what is called a debt for nature swap. Now that's a really interesting instrument, because during the COVID crisis, a lot of countries got together, led by Pakistan, and called out for the creditor countries that these are countries under stress because of COVID. So the debt should be either relaxed or it should be terminated altogether. But at the same time, Pakistan within that group took another step forward and said that, well, if you give us a debt relief, we are willing to put that money into nature. And that's called a debt for nature swap. And we have a few countries which are already in negotiation with us on this innovative instrument. And during this challenging time, we also saw one more thing which is coming right on the horizon. We realized that the economic framework of the 20th century is not going to take us to the 21st century. It has to change. It has to factor in the value of nature. At the moment, we do not value nature. Clean air is free. Clean water is free. There is no value attached to it. We have to value these things. These are blessings of nature, but these are blessings of nature that we have overutilized. And now it's time to value them. And we have to value nature as a whole. And what happened during the COVID time again was a seminal report came out called the Das Gupta Economic Report, which is saying exactly the same thing for the United Kingdom government, that for the first time, the UK government has valued the natural capital in the UK. Pakistan is a country, probably the first in the developing world, which has again taken a step forward and said that we also want to do that report. And we're signing an MOU to do that report. Because we strongly feel that as we go forward into the 21st century, nature will have to be valued. Nature will have to be factored in. And it is time to reimagine our relationship with nature. This is what the COVID crisis has taught Pakistan in a positive manner with results. And finally, I would just like to put this slide on the show that, and it was said in a time of crisis, that never let a good crisis go to waste. And Pakistan faced the COVID crisis, did not let it go to waste, learned the lessons, and got onto a nature positive pathway. Thank you very much.